Thank you for watching. Here's my response video. Hopefully, I watched the video recently enough I'll remember what my short notes mean. It's Lizzie's Answers. This is a 2-year-old video. And it is why I will never use birth control. I watched it and here are my thoughts about what she said and my summary of it. The first reason she gave was that hormonal birth control some of it's urinated out, and then at the end of the sewage processing, our world's sewage workers don't magically make it disappear. It has to go somewhere after it's processed, so they clean they kill the bacteria in the sewage best they can, and they do a great job of that. And then they put it out into the rivers and oceans and things. And she says that it is causing negative effects on sea life. I'm not sure if it's as bad as she's saying, but she said that Catholics are allowed to take it for medical reasons, hormonal birth control. And yeah, she complained that the damage to sea life is not talked about as much as the other reasons to not use birth control. So she gave 2 examples of medical reasons that, according to her understanding, the Catholic Church believes that it's okay to use birth control. Apparently birth control helps ovarian cysts, so the cysts doesn't burst and kill somebody. Or somebody doesn't need invasive, risky surgery to take out cysts. And if people have painful periods. Then she talked about another reason. She said that the purpose for sex is there's 2 purposes. One is it is unitive. It helps a bond between a husband and a wife. And 2, it's procreative. She described it as a dual purpose for that. But if you're not allowed to do it just for the one purpose, it's not dual purpose. That's not you can't call the unity in marriage a purpose for it if you can't do it for that purpose. This wasn't a dialogue. I would have wanted to know what she thinks of people who do it only for the procreation, but they regret their marriage, they hate their spouse, or some other circumstance like that. Would she say that that is also evil misuse of sex? I wonder. Or if one spouse is just consenting to it and not eager to do it. Then it's not really for the unity, and well, no, that could be for the unity, but does she believe that a husband and wife have to be trying to unify themselves? If not, then she shouldn't call it a dual purpose. It should be like a collateral benefit, or a collateral effect, but the procreation is the main purpose. She pointed out when we have sex, there are hormones that are released, the dopamine, that's why it feels good. Similar hormone that you have when you have success with something, you get out, you make it through a dangerous situation. Oxytocin, which helps you to feel feelings of love and affection towards somebody. It's the same chemical that's released into a woman's body as a natural reaction to breastfeeding and I think giving birth too. But there's something named diazepam that men have when they have sex that gives them a hormone that encourages them to want to protect someone or something. She said every sex act must be fulfill those 2 things, she said. But then I wish I would have I wonder what she thinks about people who are only trying to get pregnant and hate their spouse. Let's see. and birth control disconnects sex from a biological meaning. I disagree with her on this. Sex is it's good to procreate, but thus saith the Lord. No, I'm not God's prophet claiming a revelation, but God's prophets, God's apostles and prophets in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have taught us that it's okay, it's up to a husband and wife how many kids they have, and it's okay to use birth control sometimes. It's okay to plan your kids so you can afford them, and the unity of the sex acts, the feeling of closeness that it brings a husband and wife, that is so important and such a good and beautiful thing. It's okay if that's the only thing a husband and wife are getting out of sex, or their only goal in having sex. So you're not disconnecting anything when that is the real meaning of the sex act. But LizziesAnswers sees differently than me, and she sees it as you better be trying to have a kid every time, except when you're not. Let's see. Biological meaning. She claims birth control has been a disaster because committed Christians go to church, believe the Bible, and see nothing wrong with premarital sex, and that shocks Lizzie. She's apparently had conversations with people who were all those things she just lists, and they saw nothing wrong with premarital sex. I'm shocked by that too. Here I've got some common ground with Lizzie. But maybe we shouldn't call those people Christians, and they're definitely not committed if the scriptures are crystal clear about this. This is not some vague thing like when Jesus comes back, will there be a rapture or not, or what, pick a name of a country, how much of a world power will it be at the end times according to the Bible. The Bible's vague about those things. It's not vague at all about wait until you get married to have sex, and if you have not, you can be forgiven. That's the whole reason Jesus came and did the atonement. But you're not going to be forgiven without a broken heart and a contrite spirit. You got to realize it was wrong that you did that. Yeah, let's see. But here's where Lizzie's wrong about this. It's correlation, not causation. Yes, those people she talked with, I believe they really exist. But it's not because of the birth control. You see, you can believe that sex, it's okay for a husband and wife to have sex all day long, and not being trying to have a child, or believe it's not a big problem, it's between them and God and not going to get them stuck in hell. You can believe that and believe that you must wait to have sex until you're married. I don't see how the one leads to the other. Just like I'm not denouncing people driving if I say wait until you're old enough to get a driver's license to drive. You can't blame underage drivers on people who believe that it's okay to go for a drive just for fun. Relax yourself in the countryside. Or if stop and go city traffic is relaxing to you, it's not to me, but if it's to you, go for it. So I think I've covered that enough. Yeah. So those friends claim it's unhealthy to wait for sex. And Lizzie disagrees with them, and I agree with Lizzie about it. It's not unhealthy at all. It's a stupid lie. There's no reason for anyone to claim that there's something unhealthy about waiting to have sex till you get married. She quoted people who say that you should be as close sexually as you are emotionally. That doesn't make any sense to me. And okay, so but she said when you separate the reason for the sex, there's no reason to wait for marriage. Bad logic, Lizzie. There is a reason to wait. It's thus saith the Lord. The scriptures are clear about that. If somebody thinks it's okay for a husband and wife to not try to get pregnant, but still have sex, that does not have anything to do with when you do it or obeying God's commandment to wait till you get married. Marriage and children are optional. Okay, yeah, the people who don't have the... marriage... Yeah, some people look at marriage and children as optional, but not Catholics. Lizzie is a Catholic. She's not a cradle Catholic or somebody who was raised that way. She joined it as an adult. She said marriage is like God and His church. God and His church produce new believers, and marriage produces new bodies. Okay, this is a bad metaphor. I think we should limit how much we do talk about comparing God and us in marriage, because I don't have sex with God. God's not my equal. But I have sex with my wife, and she is my equal. God is greater than me, just in case anyone was imagining or hallucinating me thinking that I'm greater than God. God's greater than me, and I don't have sex with Him. My wife is equal to me, and I have sex with her. So let's not compare, marriage and God relationship. But the church is just converting people to being believers that already existed outside of the church's existence, the Catholic Church's existence, or the true church's existence. So, but when we get married, we're creating whole new bodies that didn't exist before. So it's a weak metaphor. She claims open to life means to view child in a positive way. No, that's not what open to life means. You can view children, and having kids in a positive way, and decide that you've had enough kids when you got to 4, 8, or 1 if you've got bad health, or you can view kids in a positive way and be married but wait to have kids and use birth control, wait to have kids until you finish high school, or you get a bachelor's degree, or get out of a bad debt that you're in, or something. You're not anti-kids or thinking kids are negative if you want to improve your circumstances before you have kids. Bad logic, Lizzie. Open to life. When a Catholic says open to life, here's what they really mean. They mean trying to have a child every time you have sex. Not taking preventative measures, and I'm not counting natural family planning as really preventative. But anyway, Lizzie used to view pregnancy negatively, and then she became a Catholic who believes that birth control is a sin, and now she views it positively. Let's see. I see a disconnect here. It doesn't make sense to claim the one and the other. It's possible to look forward to pregnancy, to think it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, and still want to control when you do it. Or still want to, at some point, stop getting pregnant, but still have sex with your husband. That's possible. Next point she made is sex is giving oneself fully. In a Christian marriage, sex is the covenant part of marriage. Lizzie should not have used the word Christian marriage here. While Catholics are Christian, we should use the word Christian to describe things that more than one sect of Christianity believes. I don't think I've ever said Christian about beliefs that are unique to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but no other sect of Christianity. If I have, call me out on that. I shouldn't. I should use the word Christian to describe what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and Catholics and Greek Orthodox and Jehovah's Witnesses and Baptists and Evangelicals, or at least several of those groups, not just one of them, believe. Or maybe something that's crystal clear in the Bible, but maybe. But Catholic belief about birth control does not fall under any of those categories, and thus is believed by a small subset of Christians or one group of Christians. Yeah. And I disagree with her. Marriage means having sex. One of the things that marriage means is having sex with only my spouse. But it's not like every time I have sex with my wife, it's not like renewing my covenant with her. Like when I take the sacrament, I'm renewing my covenant, my baptismal covenant with God. And the sex with my wife in marriage is not in any certain way. I'm not going to get into great detail about what things my wife and I do and don't do, but a husband and wife are still, how do you put it? My marriage covenant does not require me to use certain body positions or sexual acts with my wife. But Lizzie would, I guess, make it seems like she believes that you have to have sex in certain positions or acts for it to count as your covenant sex in marriage. Anyway, she says if you're not giving your fertility, that means you're not giving all to your spouse. That's ridiculous. That's bad logic. No, my fertility is not something that I have to give my wife. My wife does not have to give me her fertility. I'm not being cheated on by my wife if she doesn't give me her fertility. As long as I'm getting access to all of my wife's body that I can reach without cutting her open, I'm getting all of her. What more could I want? And the same thing about her and me. I'm giving her all of my body. We shouldn't want to see our spouse's guts and cut them open. So, as long as we're getting to all the body, we're getting all the body. There's no need to worry about the fertility. I'm still giving my wife my body. Even if, we're taking measures to prevent a pregnancy. She said, if all society only had sex in marriage, the world would be better. Yeah, the world would be better if everyone had sex in marriage. But then she makes a false comparison between a belief in birth control and having sex outside of marriage. Birth control works, she says, but what about if people are sick or they're traveling? Okay, I don't see what this has to do with why not use birth control. People, birth control is not a sin. It's okay. It's not a mortal sin, venial sin. It's not a sin at all. If God wants you to have more kids than you're having, that's between you and God. But in general, birth control is okay. But if you're sick and you are throwing up birth control pills, you just skip sex for that day. Use a condom. Because one day won't work because you get sick and you throw up your pill right after you take it. I don't see what that has to do with not taking it in general. Or if you need to take a medicine, an antibiotic or something that interferes with birth control, then you go without sex for a few days, but why not use birth control the other days? Or if you're traveling, if you're flying around the world, that'll interrupt your cycle of when to take the pill. Somebody traveling around the world can still keep track of when to take their pill. That's not going to stop somebody. You can always keep one clock that you travel with set to your time in the world. With our modern computers, you can probably have your smartphone, or maybe even your old-fashioned flip phone, or you could look at maybe a computer program where you can set a clock to a certain time zone so that you're always with that time zone and taking your pill on time. That other I just say right here for myself. People can skip if yeah, we do have a problem right now with a lot of single parents that are single because they made bad choices. You made a bad choice if you're forcing your child to grow up with only you because you had sex outside of marriage. If divorce and death cause you to be raising a child by yourself, my heart goes out to you. That's a different story. But that's got nothing to do with birth control, just like all the other things. It's possible for somebody to, and it's irresponsible people that are having the sex outside of marriage and getting pregnant and raising single children that they shouldn't have made. That's irresponsible. If you're taking birth control so you don't get pregnant when you're not ready to get pregnant, that's responsible. I see a disconnect. Okay, if everyone had Christian sex ethics, there would be no sex outside of marriage. Yes. And no birth control. That's not Christian, that's Catholic, which is a subset of Christianity, and we should not use the word Christian to describe something that one subset does. Children be born into stability. Yeah, that's good. And then she talked about natural family planning, which basically means timing sex for the times when a woman is not fertile. And she says it's similar to birth control, but it's not a mortal sin, because the mortal sin in Catholicism is intentionally avoiding pregnancy. That's what natural family planning is. I'm confused about this. Natural family planning is not a sin because they're still open to life. See, open to life does not mean have anything to do with your attitude about liking kids or not. It's whether you're trying to get pregnant. You're trying to get pregnant if you're having sex without a birth control pill, without a condom, without other preventatives. But even then, maybe you shouldn't call yourself open to life if you're trying to not get pregnant. She pointed out the U.S. population is decreasing, so we need a whole bunch of immigrants or more babies, so we don't have a financial crisis of, majority of the country on Social Security and old and not able to work, and non-majority of people, big financial problems. Yeah. This teaching about birth control in the Catholic Church, she used to hate this teaching, she said, and she literally cried about it. She's, Lizzie, you were right before. Go back to where you were before mentally. Go back to where you were before. You were right before, Lizzie. She saw the Catholic Church's teaching as sexist. She is bipolar, and she was scared at the thought of getting pregnant, because bipolar medication, most of them will harm the fetus, and it would be a huge sacrifice to go without her medicine, her bipolar medicine, for the baby's sake. As a woman with bipolar, she trusts herself to use natural family planning. Why not trust herself to remember to take the pill? Here's a great example of why you might need to use birth control pills. Lizzie, it's alright if you use a birth control pill so you don't hurt a child by causing it to have deformations caused by your bipolar medicine. Lizzie, I want you to take the bipolar medicine, the psychiatric medicines that you need. So when you get married, Lizzie, get on the pill. It's not a sin. Here's a great example of why it's an example of somebody who really should be taking a birth control pill when she gets married. Society, marriage, or society and marriage is self-actuating. Alright, so those are my thoughts about that. Thank you for watching. You have a good day.